Oh, hi, friends. Welcome to Life of Brian. My name is Brian, and this is my life. Don't mind me. Just hanging out with my good buddy here, Paul Stanley Eisen, who is the topic of our little chat of this video, as you probably read in the title of it. He's my first. What does that mean? Well, glad you asked. Let's wax a little bit to steal a line from a friend of mine. So, in my younger days, being a youth, when I say youth, probably 5 or 6 years old was my indoctrination into KISS. I remember in my younger years, probably 8, 9, 10 years old, I remember somebody having a picture of me holding a copy of Dynasty on vinyl next to a Christmas tree. I've spent my whole life telling the story and telling people that it was the Christmas of 79. Could have been Christmas of 80, but I just want to say that it's 79. Not just because that's the year that album came out, but I really think because I always said I was 5 years old, and I was born in 74, so that's the year I was 5, was 79. Anyway, long story longer. Somewhere around that time, I remember going to a department store with, I believe it was my mom, and this department store was really nothing, there was nothing special about it. It was Gold Circle up in Ohio, outside of Cleveland. That's where we lived. And this Gold Circle was by our local mall. And my biggest memories of this store were of the outside because we drove by it a lot. And the one memory I have of the inside of it was this one particular day. I was there with my mom, I think, and they had a metal cage bin in the middle of the aisle that had records in it. And I remember looking through those records for no particular reason. I didn't know what I was doing. I was 5 or 6 years old. Well, this isn't the exact copy, but I pull out a copy of this. And I don't know if it's because I recognized the name at the top or recognized the face. I don't know. But either way, I pulled that album out, and I remember leaving with it because I remember listening to that as much as I listened to Dynasty. Well, those are the only 2 records I had, so that's all I had to listen to. But I listened to that, and between Dynasty's merch form and this bad boy, oh man, you talk about wants. I drooled over this, wanted everything on this. Don't remember asking for a single thing. Don't know why, but I don't remember asking for anything, but I wanted it all. So fast forward to earlier this summer. So we're going to fast forward 45 years-ish to earlier this summer at a local record store and find a couple posters, which I've never really looked for posters before. I've looked at them, but not really with purpose, because it hasn't been till within, I'd say, the last year at most that I even knew the meaning of the posters that I would see. There's no telling how many valuable posters I've seen over the years. I say valuable. I don't collect for value. I collect for the nostalgia factor and what things mean to me. But vintage, whatever word you want to throw at it, there's no telling what awesome posters I've skimmed through thinking, ooh, look at that, not knowing what I was looking at. Now I do. So earlier this summer, I find that bad boy along with this one on the other side that you can't sell what it is because of the glare, but that's the Ace smoking guitar poster. Got both of those in the same trip for way less than I expected to pay for those things. That was a day. I should have made a video that day, but anyway. So my first solo album, poster was Paul. Now, the solo album art for me is my favorite. As much as I love the cover of Dynasty because of the nostalgia factor, and as much as I love the cover of Rock and Roll Over, the solo album art to me is hands down the best art in the history of the band. Everything they did with it is, aside from the album art, the merch post, or not the merch forms and the things that they sold along with the solo albums, the advertisements, print ads, all of it. There's something about that artwork that's always drawn me to it, and just, I love it. I could stare at the solo album artwork for hours. Any of them. Primarily Paul, because he was my first, and Ace, because he's my favorite. But when I became aware of Gene's, and the first Gene album that I had, I want to say it was on CD, oh man. And Peter's his is probably my least favorite of the four, but artwork, his is kick ass. All of them are. I love all four of them. And putting them together, oh man, to me they're unbeatable. So yeah, getting a solo album poster was huge for me. And even if it was Peter, I say he's my least favorite of the four. If that was a Peter Criss poster, I'd be just as happy about having it as I am having that one of Paul, because that's just how much I love those things. So Paul was my first solo album vinyl. He was my first poster. And as of this evening, when I got home today, he is now, sorry for the hand, my first UK PYE single 45 with the mask on the colored vinyl. There's a list of things in this noggin that are on the list of maybe if I'm lucky, but probably never, as far as merch, whatever that I'll own. These things have been on it almost towards the top. So the fact that I have one of them, but let alone Paul Stanley, which I'm not a fan of that song. That's probably at the bottom of the list on the songs on that track list of his solo album. But whatever, we don't get to choose, right? The fact that I have a solo 45 from the UK that has this mask, man, it came from Canada, which probably didn't help matters because I got it off of eBay, and as soon as I won the auction, actually I think I maybe made an offer. Either way, when the auction ended and I was getting this, I about crapped my drawers, because it's just one of those, I never would have thought I'd ever have one of these things. And then it was waiting the 2 to 3 weeks for it to get here, because it had to go through customs and blah blah blah. Today was the day I finally had it in my hands, and I couldn't get home from work fast enough when I saw that it was delivered. But Paul Stanley being my first one of those four, again, is so weird. I don't know why. It's not anything that's been premeditated. I haven't thought it out that I want Paul to be my first this, first that. It's just happened that way. And I can't explain it. Maybe it's just, maybe I've got a connection with Paul that I didn't know I had, even though Ace is my favorite. Who knows? Maybe he'll be my first solo belt buckle, which I believe those are up there with the pinball machine of, yeah, right, dude, of things that I'm going to own, because I am not about to pay those prices on eBay for a belt buckle. As much as I love those solo belt buckles, and kudos to you guys that have them and have bought them and paid whatever price you feel it's worth to you to have that thing in your hands, kudos to you. I can't do that. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm a tight ass. That's probably more than what. Yes, I'll admit it. I'm a tight ass. To me, when I say a lot of money, those things average about $250 each for each of the four of them. So to have one belt buckle, if I'm going to spend $250 on something, in my mind, it's going to be kick-ass tickets to a concert or going towards a trip that I want to take to somewhere I've never been. Something along those lines. As much as I'd love to have one of those buckles in my collection, because I do have some of the Pacifica buckles, but I'm not about to pay those prices. And again, I'm not knocking those of you that have or are doing it or going to do it. You do you. This is just me, and I'm talking about what my life is and how much of a tightwad I am. But oh man, I love having that 45 single, that Paul single on the purple vinyl. I love it. I love colored vinyl. I'm a sucker for colored vinyl. So when I first learned of those, and they were each in their own color, like the cover art, those have been on the list. But yeah, one of those, maybe. Well, I'm now 25% of the way there, and hopefully, Lord willing and the creek don't rise, that percentage will go up. I'm in no rush. It is what it is. And sometimes with collecting, those two posters I got, the Paul poster and the Ace poster, I don't know if it was right place, right time, but that's exactly the way it felt. And sometimes the planets align, the stars align in just the right way for you, and you're at the right place, right time, where you're supposed to be at that moment, doing what you love, being a Kiss fan, loving this band, loving collecting this band, that you're able to go home with something that you've had your eye on for who knows how long. Maybe even thinking that you'll never own that thing. And here you are. It's hanging on your damn wall, framed for the world. Framed for all of you to see. And you get to live out what, as you were a child, or as I was a child, may have been a fantasy. Something you never thought would happen. Like me looking at that merch form when I was a kid. I never thought I was going to own that poster up in the top corner. Did I want it? Yes. Hell yes, I wanted that thing. Never in a million years would have thought I'd have it, but here we are. Never stop dreaming big. Never stop dreaming big. The bigger you dream, the bigger you win. And Paul's my first. We'll see what he's my first of next time. I'm going to keep looking for these posters, for the solo album posters. I'm not going to break the bank for them, but you know what? It's all good, man. The fun is in the hunt. The fun is in the hunt. Don't ever stop looking. Keep your eyes open. Keep your heart open. And good things happen. It may take 45 years, but good things happen. And if you're like me and you get the pure joy, just unabashed joy of receiving anything of this band, opening up that box, even though you know what's in there. Till now, all you've seen probably is photos online or in a magazine, or maybe you've seen somebody else's. If you're lucky, somebody else has let you see or hold something that you've just bought. But most times for me, all I've seen is online, in print. I buy this thing, it gets here on my doorstep. I open that box, knowing full well what's inside that box. Then you touch it. And that touch, that initial touch of whatever that item is, and tonight for me it was that 45, I'm instantly taken back to when I was a kid, even though I didn't know those existed when I was a kid. But that joy of loving this band, loving collecting, it's what it's all about. And I hope you all get to experience that if you haven't, because it is amazing. It is life-changing. And I know that word gets thrown out a lot, but I stand behind that statement. Collecting of anything that's of import to you, whatever your heart is in, when you buy and you get something that transports you to your youth, that's life-changing, and it makes it all worth it. And it doesn't matter what the value is, it doesn't matter what somebody would give you for it or what the condition of it is. All that matters is how it makes you feel. And tonight, I feel pretty damn awesome. And I can't wait to see what the next thing is that I get to cross off my list. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening to me ramble on in these videos for 15, 20 minutes at a time. I can't tell you what that means to me. I love having this to share with you guys. I love people of like minds being able to share what they love and just talk about what gives them joy. Because in this world, we got to hold on to that as much as we can, because the world's not getting any better. So all we can do is make the world that we live in, our worlds, our circles, the best they can be. And I know mine is better for having each one of you in it. I can't wait to see you next time. I'll see you down the road. Happy hunting, y'all, and remember to have fun.